Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. As the cost of driving increases, fewer teens are taking to the road.
It would be the cost of insurance and upkeep.
The city makes their final decision on the downtown arena proposal.
Hoping this will be a watershed moment for downtown and for our city.
A discovery at the U of A could lead to a groundbreaking treatment for multiple sclerosis.
This research project was partially funded by the MS Society, and it's very important to not only us, but people with MS.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. The new downtown arena has been given the go-ahead by City Council this week.
City Council met on Wednesday to make the decision to get the arena project off the ground. Our Aaron Bazovi joins live from our news center with more on that story.
Edmontonians have been talking about the potential of getting a new downtown arena for the past 2 years. A deadline put in place by the Cates Group of October 31st has forced City Council to make a decision. An Oiler victory against the rival Canucks on Tuesday night wasn't the only thing on the minds of local fans. As the clock wound down on securing a new home for the Oil, fans got their last shots in.
I would like to see a new arena in Edmonton, but I don't think that the Edmontonians should be paying for it.
Build it. It needs to be built. This is a great place, a lot of tradition, but a new arena, downtown core, awesome. That's what we need.
City Council held a full schedule of public hearings on Tuesday to let Edmontonians have one last chance to voice their opinions.
My vision of Edmonton does include the iconic downtown arena district.
Brian Brown, Speaker 116, made notes while he waited for his turn to speak. For him, it isn't so much about financing a new arena, it's about the history that was made in Rexall Place over the years. History that will be lost.
And you look at cities like Toronto, and they let go of Maple Leaf Gardens. And that, to me, is historic Canadiana that is irreplaceable.
The proposed downtown arena is set to be built here, between 101st and 104th Street, just north of 104th Avenue.
And that is passed.
2 years after Daryl Cates came forward with the agenda proposal, Council made it official and will be contributing a total of $305 million for the downtown centerpiece.
Well, this is not just about Edmonton, it's about all northern Alberta.
Councillor Don Iveson was one of 3 councillors that voted against the arena. He believes that Council could have held out for a better deal for taxpayers.
But the decision's been made by Council. At this point, it's time to move on and deliver this facility as cost effectively as we can.
An architect will be brought in the next year to start designing the new arena, but there are still some bylaws that City Council has to pass before the construction can begin.
Aaron, where is the city going to get the $100 million from that is unaccounted for?
Well, the city is hoping that the province will give them that money to start construction, but City Council cannot confirm that at this point.
And Aaron, what does this arena development mean for the Oilers?
This arena means that the Edmonton Oilers will stay in Edmonton for the next 35 years after their lease runs out at Rexall Place in 2014, but they're hoping construction will be done by the 2015-2016 season.
Thanks, Aaron. That's Aaron Bazovi reporting live from our news center.
This is NAIT NewsWatch.
What was once a rite of passage is now a fading trend in Alberta.
The province is seeing fewer teen drivers on the road than ever before. Our Laura Paulson has more on that story.
At 16 years old, Kelsey Bruveld once dreamed of having her own car like her older sister. But now that the time has come for her to get her license, driving has lost its appeal. Faced with distractions like homework and soccer, her priorities have changed.
A lot of my sister's friends started driving right when they turned 16, and a lot of my friends haven't really even got their learners.
Even with a car waiting for her in the driveway, she still can't find the money to get it on the road.
And I haven't had a job, so I don't have the money to get a car or to have my license.
Statistics show that there are in fact fewer 16 and 17-year-olds on the road. According to Alberta Transportation, though the teen population is growing, the number of those young people driving is shrinking. In 2001, there were more than 60,000 teens on the road. Fast forward to 2010, and the number has dropped by almost 2,000 drivers. Tanis Mulvey has worked in insurance for many years and has noticed she insures fewer teen drivers.
I'm not certain why there would be less teen drivers on the road. It could be the cost of insurance and upkeep.
Insurance for teens ranges from $135 if you have driver's training
to $155, a hefty price for the average 16-year-old. Rising gas prices only add to the problem.
It's hard for kids, especially students, to be able to afford it.
For those who can afford it, it seems a lack of interest is the biggest thing stopping them from hitting the road. Alora Paulson, NAIT NewsWatch.
Scona Road has reopened one lane in each direction. The project is nearing an end sooner than expected.
I think the big accomplishment is that in spite of all the weather issues that we had this year, we were able to actually open up, even though it's only partly, but open up that roadway to some sort of use a month ahead of schedule.
Scona Road is expected to be completely open within the next 2 weeks. Some of the traffic improvements are repaved roads and sidewalks, a noise wall on the east side, and new safety features. Many commuters are happy about using the road once again.
It'll be really nice when it's open because they did expand the lanes, which is really good because that road got congested a lot.
Next spring, there will be off-peak lane closures along the same route for cleanup and landscaping.
Emergency room wait times in Edmonton have been dropping over the past few months. However, a 37% increase in September is causing some concern. September was a busy month for Edmonton emergency rooms, increasing the amount of time a patient is kept waiting.
What we've seen in the last month or so is that there's been a surge in the number of patients who are coming to the emergency department.
According to Dr. Colburn, the increase is very common for this time of year.
Part of it's seasonal, part of it's the increase in surgical activity that happens once September comes every year.
The Alberta government says it will continue to focus on its long-term plan.
It's ultimately about people and how we bring health care to them in a setting that's more appropriate than an emergency department.
The minister also says they will be adding more continuing care beds to alleviate some of the pressure.
Researchers at the University of Alberta have discovered the molecule that causes physical disability associated with MS. The discovery of the potential new drug target could lead to a treatment drug. The drug would ideally be able to prevent disability linked with the disease.
And it's very important to not only us, but people with MS, because if we can help prevent the disability that people are living with, it goes a long way to helping improve quality of life.
Principal investigator Fabrizio Giuliani believes the discovery is a big step forward in the battle against MS.
We need to develop drugs that can interfere with this molecule, that can interfere with this pathway, and so that we can prevent the nerve injury and we eventually can prevent the disability that follows.
With continued testing, researchers are hoping to see a treatment on the market in the future.
A two-day-long fall session ended at the legislature earlier this week. Premier Alison Redford used some of the time at the session to discuss her long-term plans for Alberta.
What I wanted to do was to be able to say to Albertans that they can have confidence that this new cabinet and this new premier have a plan.
Opposition parties were critical of Redford's use of time at the session.
I think that as I was listening to her words, what kept running through my mind was, this sounds like a bunch of baloney. How can you increase spending and balance the budget and start saving for the future?
The fall sitting is set to resume on November 1st once Cabinet is able to draft a full agenda.
Some universities in southern Alberta have been forced to turn away qualified applicants. Lack of funding has led to post-secondary schools in the province to put a cap on enrollment. NAIT's competitive admittance puts the school in a similar position. President Glenn Feltham is aware of the issue.
NAIT right now is having to turn away students in certain programs. We know that we are going to have to grow significantly to meet the emerging needs of this province, and we very much look forward to working with the government in making that happen.
Currently, NAIT has about 3 applicants for every student that's admitted. With an expansion plan in the near future, NAIT will be seeing a building which will allow for increased enrollment in all programs.
NAIT is pairing up with Habitat for Humanity to help out in building one of the nonprofit's largest projects to date. Students from NAIT's Construction Engineering Technology program were on site this week at Habitat's Anderson Garden Development. Anderson Garden Development is made up of 47 homes that will go to low-income families in Edmonton. Not only is it a good cause, but NAIT instructor Brad Milkey says it also helps students get out of the classroom and into the fields.
Getting people out and actually involved
developed on the tools, which really accelerates their learning.
Brad hopes NAIT and Habitat will be able to continue their partnership well into the future. Coming up after the break, people learn the benefits of carpooling.
And to help you can understand that you don't have to do it every day, that once a week is enough to make that change.
And students are taking extreme measures while drinking.
Mostly I just do it because I know that if I'm going to be drinking all my calories for the night, I don't want to fill up my stomach with a big meal as well.
The Edmonton Eskimos and BC Lions are all set for a first place showdown later on tonight. I'll have that and much more coming up in sports.
A group that can help save you money was around Edmonton this week.
Representatives with the city and carpool.ca were out to raise awareness about the benefits of carpooling. Anne-Marie Thornton is the director of carpool.ca, and she says there is no better time to start carpooling than now.
So if there are people that are out there that are carpooling, they could get rewarded for doing that.
Edmontonians can win iPads and other gear just by carpooling. You may enter to win by visiting carpool.ca. You can also register with the website as a member.
And the system will produce a list of potential matches for you based on where you're traveling.
City of Edmonton is also supporting the carpool initiative.
And part of that plan is to encourage Edmontonians to consider changing the way they get around the city.
For more information about Carpool Week and contest details, visit carpool.ca.
Well, Nicole, Halloween's just around the corner, so hopefully those kids have some nice weather.
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be too cold for trick-or-treating out there. Spencer, how's it looking for Halloween Monday?
Well, warm weather and no snow. That's what's going to be taking place this upcoming week here. In fact, this is only the third time in the last 50 years that we're not going to have snow going into November. The only other years it took place was 1963 and 2005. So let's take a look at the weather boards and see how the rest of the province is shaking up. In Calgary, it's going to be a pretty warm day with a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 15 and a low of 1 with a slight chance of rain for the Monday. And in Jasper, the story there is it's going to be very windy. Also, we're going to expect some snow, approximately 5 centimeters. So we'll see a high of 3 and a low of -9 on Sunday. In Fort McMurray, it's one of the only places in the province that we'll expect to see rain on Sunday, with about a 40% chance of precipitation with a high of 8 and a low of -4. And in Edmonton, like I said, we're expecting warm weathers for Sunday, a high of 12 and a low of 2, which is well above the average of about +5 for the high and about -5 for the low for the average. So, and the record set in Edmonton is +22 in 1890 for the high, and for the low it's -19 set in 1984.
Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
So yeah, overall it's going to be pretty warm for kids out trick-or-treating. It's not even going to dip below the zeros.
Thanks for the update, Spencer.
An unhealthy new trend is hitting college campuses across Canada.
The trend gives the phrase fun on a budget a whole new meaning. Our Natasha Bruin has more on that story.
The trend, dubbed drunkorexia, is where students hold back on eating throughout the day in order to save their calorie intake for drinking later on at night. It has been reported that 1 in 5 college students take part in such an activity.
Can I get a vodka water?
For NAIT student Chelsea Bird, this isn't something she's never heard of or seen before.
Honestly, I don't really know anybody that doesn't do it. If you're going out for a night out, I don't really know anybody that goes out for a big meal first. I think most people end up eating a little bit less because they know that they're going to be drinking.
With an emptier stomach, less alcohol is needed to feel the effects, and therefore less money is also spent on alcohol.
Get drunker faster, don't have to spend as much money on alcohol, win-win.
For students thinking this habit has no negative side effects, think again.
People who actually follow this type of eating pattern or skip meals entirely, they don't do as well in school.
Not only that, but if done regularly for an extended period of time, more serious long-term effects will show up down the road.
they're going to run the risk of becoming deficient in all your fat-soluble vitamins because alcohol impairs the absorption of those. They're going to become deficient in a lot of the B vitamins as well. Folic acid is another one.
With alcohol abuse and mental issues on the rise in Canada, colleges hope that by putting the spotlight on drinking on campus, more awareness and safety will be brought to the issue in the long run. Natasha.
And Ty Hudick is here at the desk joining us with sports. So Ty, the Eskimos are winding down their season.
Yeah, and you were telling me earlier that they've actually got a pretty big game tonight though.
That's right, it's a big first place showdown in BC tonight. I've got that and some NAIT soccer buzz coming up in sports, which starts right now. First place is on the line tonight in the CFL West. The Eskimos are in BC, set to take on the Lions in what is sure to be a hostile BC Place stadium. Edmonton enters tonight's contest with a one-game lead on both the Lions and Stampeders and can clinch a first-round bye with a victory. Despite the implications of the game, the players are approaching Week 18 with the same mindset that they had in Week 1.
That it's not any different than any other regular game. You know, it's still football field. Field's 110 yards long. There's nothing different. You know, so just go out and have fun and play. And if you make mistakes, do it 100 miles an hour and try not to do it again.
Just the same way we've been preparing all year. Just have some good practices, good crisp practices. Play fast and yeah, just watch as much film as we can and just keep doing what we've been doing.
We just have to go out and play our A game on all three, offense, defense, special teams, and get it done.
Kickoff is set to go at 8 over on TSN. Well, the soccer season is winding down and the NAIT men wrapped up their regular season play last weekend. The team played host to a final pair of games starting Friday against the Kings Eagles. Luke strike early and often in this one. Zach Kaiser opens things up. He beats Eagles keeper Todd Vandriel to make it 1-0. Thiago Silva is then awarded a penalty kick for the Ooks, but is denied as Vandriel dives across, making the save and keeping his team within 1. NAIT keeps it coming, and once again, it is Kaiser. He makes a nice move around Vandriel and buries his second of the game. That makes it 2-0 for the home team. Joseph Kosturus would add one more for the Ooks before the half, and NAIT takes the 3-0 lead going into the break. To the second half, and we'll have some more of the same. Ida Mortuzzi snipes this one top shelf. Lukes would add one more. They win this one going away. 5-0 is your final score. After the game, Ooks head coach Jeff Paulus talked about his team's strategy coming into this one.
They're organized defensively, so if you don't attack them quickly, they'll get players behind the ball and make life difficult for you. So that was our game plan, and certainly right from the get-go. 2 minutes in was our first goal, and that kind of set the tone for us and let us kind of play our game.
Lukes went on to defeat Keano 4-0 on Saturday and clinch the top seed heading into this weekend's playoff action. Now, not only are the men the #1 seed in the ACAC, but they also sit ranked #1 in all of Canada, and so do our NAIT women. Both teams finished their seasons with undefeated records, going 8-2 and 10-0 respectively.
It's one of those things that it was actually a surprise Week 1 that we got it. We beat Concordia and Grand McEwen in Week 1, and we got the ranking, and then just it was on their minds from the get-go, but we just kept it going. So the girls dealt well with the pressure.
It's a source of pride, and you know, the team does enjoy it, and you let them enjoy that for a very short time. But then what you use it as a motivator as well, because now you've got to dedicate yourselves to honoring that. And it's one thing to walk around and you know think that you're all that because you're ranked #1, but it's another thing to come out and actually perform that way.
Both teams will look to advance out of this weekend's ACAC championships. NAIT is currently hosting the men's side with the championship games going tomorrow. The playoff season is also underway for high school football in our province, and a pair of Edmonton clubs have combined to make history. The Tier 2 Austin O'Brien Crusaders have led the provincial rankings all season long, and they were joined by the Tier 1 Harry Ainley Titans atop the latest edition of the chart. This marks the first time two Edmonton-based teams have been proclaimed as Alberta's best at the same time. Despite the rankings, the Crusaders are just trying to focus on their task at hand.
The rankings, they're nice for publicity, I guess, but they don't mean anything if you don't advance out of your own league.
I think it's more important to just take it game by game. Every game counts. We have to come into every game thinking that we have to be able to win and play a good game, and rankings shouldn't matter as much as a lot of people seem to think they do.
For this week's End Zone, I hit the ice to play Canada's game, or at least a variation of it. Check it out.
I'm Steve Arsenal from the National Sledge Hockey Team. I'm going to be here helping Ty learn how to play sledge hockey. Basically, sledge hockey, you play on a modified sled, which you sit down on and balance using your core strength. You have 2 sticks in your hand. One has a like a 2-inch pick on one end and then a hockey blade on the other, which you use to propel yourself and shoot. The rules for sledge hockey are identical to stand-up, other than that you're sitting down. Propelling yourself, it's going to be tricky at first, but generally it's a standard motion of almost like a medicine ball floor smash. It's pretty tough, but core, depending on the size of your blades for turning, you use a lot of your core strength, so if you tighten your core, you will be able to follow through. It takes a while to get going and actually keep yourself propelling.
Once I was able to get all the basic movements down, Steve gave me some shooting tips before we took part in a little scrimmage.
For shooting, everybody's a little different. Like for me, when taking a slap shot, I'll actually lock my wrist and I'll use my core to come in, turn into it, so I actually generate power. For wrist shots, it's pretty much the same as stand-up. To let it go from heel to toe, and it can let it fire. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of practice, but if you played stand-up before, you'll pick it up pretty quick.
And that's this week's End Zone Challenge. Thanks to the Edmonton Impact for having me out. Sledge hockey is a lot more fast-paced than it looks, but certainly a lot of fun.
Definitely looked really challenging, but lots of fun too.
Yeah, thanks, Ty. Coming up after the break, we try to do our part by donating our time and blood.
And we need to actually reach out to the youth to make sure that our consistent supply is maintained.
Coming up in entertainment, I'm going to show you some of the scariest places in Edmonton.
Reach out to what?
NAIT NewsWatch, Edmonton's #1 student newscast.
This week, Nicole and I made a trip to the blood donor clinic.
We learned just how easy it is to save up to 3 lives.
The process only took about half an hour, starting with reading an information pack, then getting our iron levels tested. After finishing a questionnaire, we spoke to a nurse and were ready to donate. Alberta Blood Services is encouraging young donors to step forward.
It's very important for people to actually put it into their regular routine. On average, just in Alberta alone, we need about 14,000 new donors. So you can see that as the years go on, we have to sustain that across the country, and then we can actually ensure that we have a consistent supply of blood.
Nicole's donation was a success, but unfortunately I was unable to donate because I was dehydrated. Nicole's blood will be separated into platelets, plasma, and red blood cells. That way each part can go to a different patient. Donations can help cancer patients, burn victims, and babies. We met another donor who thinks giving blood is very worthwhile.
Well, it helps people, right? So if you can help people, it doesn't put you out too much. That's the kind of thing I'm game for.
To book an appointment, call 1-888-2DONATE or go online to blood.ca.
And Alora Paulson joins us right now in entertainment.
Alberta Opera is putting a new spin on a Disney classic that you know and love.
Let's go, the beast is sure to follow.
Farron Tomatillo and Jeff Unger's version of Pinocchio has the wooden boy encountering a killer shark, a giant serpent, and many more magical creatures. With its mix of color, music, and adventure, it's a musical fit for all ages.
Interesting spin on the story of Pinocchio that everybody knows, and has really great music, and it's hilarious, so I think everybody should come and see it.
You can catch the show at the TransAlta Art Barns tomorrow at 2 or November 4th at 7. Edmonton high schools are building their reputation for musical theatre. Strathcona Composite High takes the stage, hoping for another award-winning year. Students are starting rehearsals for this year's musical, Legally Blonde. Strathcona has been honored many times for its musical productions at the Cappies, Edmonton's High School Theatre Awards. Their renditions of Les Miserables, Footloose, and West Side Story have all won the prize of Outstanding Musical. Not only do the students put on a great show, but they create memories that will last a lifetime.
The community is fun, and you end out with a family, a second family, and
at the end you have this cast party and you're just like, oh wow, it's gone so fast, and the whole experience is just a huge memory.
Strathcona's performances of Legally Blonde start April of next year. Every year for the last week of October, the Edmonton Corn Maze finishes off its season with a scream.
Scared, shaking.
Thrills, chills, and a whole lot of spooky fog is what you can expect at the Farm of Fear. Based out of the Edmonton Corn Maze, you have the chance to get lost in their massive 15-acre field of corn, or risk getting spooked in the haunted barn.
That was so much fun.
You didn't even see any of it.
Yeah, I did. You kept scaring me.
You have the chance to get lost at the Farm of Fear right up until November 1st. Every high school student has to study his work. Some dread it and some love it. But what if it wasn't his work at all? I'm talking about William Shakespeare, and that's what this week's movie review is all about.
We all know William Shakespeare, but what if I told you Shakespeare never wrote a single word?
Anonymous tells the story of Edward de Vere, the Earl of Oxford, played by Rhys Evans. The plot of Anonymous is all around the mystery of Shakespeare's art, asking, was it Shakespeare who wrote that body of work, or was it de Vere? It's based on the theory that Shakespeare only acted as de Vere's front man. De Vere is forced to use a front man because of his high status, and some of equal status believe that plays are sinful.
You are the soul of the age.
None of your poems or your plays will ever carry your name.
For those of you Shakespeare fans who are now all worried, the movie's theory is considered by many not true. Anonymous is a film with a superb cast of British actors, stunning digital recreation of Elizabethan times, and an interesting look at Shakespearean gossip. Anonymous is in a theater near you. This week's viral video has taught me that when you set up a camera while doing a stunt, it's bound to go wrong, even with Diet Coke and Mentos.
You missed the top.
I'm sorry, but that was hilarious. Can we please see that one more time, but this time in slow-mo? That's it for entertainment. Have a great Halloween.
Thanks, Laura, for all the entertainment information.
Thanks for watching us tonight. If you did miss us, please be sure to catch us on NAIT NewsWatch.ca.
Have a great weekend and happy Halloween.